Good morning. Today we are going to talk about the relativistic transformation of electric and magnetic fields. We have discussed about the basic concepts of uh, basic concepts on what happens when relative motion takes place for electric field. That is, electric field in one frame of reference will become magnetic field in the another one. That is, suppose some charges are put at rest in some frame S0. S0 is a static frame. So with respect in the S0, the charges are at rest. They are stationary charges. So these stationary charges creates a static electric field around it. Suppose you are observing these static charges from a moving frame. So while you are looking from the moving frame, that is this frame, we can take it as S frame. S frame is moving with respect to S0 frame, which is the stationary frame. So that in the S frame, we see that the charges are appearing to be moving in the opposite direction. So that causes for some current that is equivalent to some current. This movement of charge. When charges are appear to be moving, it is equivalent to current. That is, we are measuring current in the S frame. So what happens when the current arises? So it creates a magnetic field. You can find out the magnetic field created by a current using the ampere. That is, if you can current element, suppose a current element, you can use Biot-Savart law or Ampere's law to find out the current. So you can have a magnetic field, a resultant magnetic field. So we see that the electric field in one frame is equal to magnetic field in the other. We also showed that this magnetic field, magnetism is not a new phenomenon. In the last class, we have seen that magnetism is not an independent phenomenon, but electrostatics combined with relativity can be used to obtain the same results as the magnetostatic gives. So we have derived the Lorentz transformation law that exists between a current carrying wire and a charge Q put at a distance r away from it. So we have derived an expression for the magnetic force that exists in a particular system where there is no electrostatic force exists, and we have shown that this force, this magnetic force, is nothing but the Lorentz force. So there exists a force. We have shown that we have used electrostatics and relativity to to show that there exists a force in the between the moving charges and between the line of charges and a moving charge, and we have shown that this force is nothing but the Lorentz force, that is magnetostatic force. So we have got the result. So here we have seen that the electric field and magnetic field are nothing but they are just the manifestations depending on the nature of the observer, or depending on the motion of the observer. So we need how these fields are related while one observer goes from, or between observers in one frame and another frame, or suppose one observer goes from one frame to another, how these fields are transforming. So we can see that the electric field and magnetic field in one frame, S frame is E, and we can take it as E and B, whereas in the S dash frame we can take it as E dash and B dash. So in what way these E dash and B dash are related to E and B? So that is our question. So in the derivation, so here we are going for obtaining some general transformation rule that connects between electric and magnetic fields. In this deduction, we assume that the charge is invariant. That is, the relative motion does not affect the total electric charge. The total electric charge remains the same for two observers. The total charge does not change with respect to the motion. Also, we assume that the electric field that is generated by stationary charges, we know the stationary charges can generate electric field. Also, the changing currents can also generate electric field. You know that dou B by dou T. Changing current can create a changing magnetic field. So, changing magnetic field can create an electric field. So, both these electric field creators obey the same set of transformation rules. So, these two assumptions are inherent in this deduction. So, whatever problem exists in the derivation, if some problem exists, it will affect the final results. But so long as these assumptions are okay, that should these derivations should hold, and the results that we obtain should hold, unless there is some flaws in the derivation. So we take that there is no flaws in the derivation. You can check if there exists any flaws. You can apply logic to check whether there exists any flaws. So it is so many scientists, so many persons are observing, they are using and studying this system, and it is these are it is accepted that there is this and only problem is with these assumptions, and so long as these two assumptions are valid, our deduction should be correct. Next, we are going to show how the electric field transforms. So the electric field transformation, we are not going to consider the case of magnetic field. So there is in order to consider the transformation of electric field, we consider two frames, S0 and S frame. And if we have to consider the magnetic field also, we have to consider another frame also that we will consider later. So here there is in two frames we will observe two different electric field, and we will see how the perpendicular component of electric field, the electric field that exists perpendicular to the direction of motion, how that perpendicular component is affected by the relative motion. So you consider two parallel plate capacitors, a parallel plate capacitor, that is two capacitor plates. One is a positively charged plate and another one is a negatively charged plate. And you can take that the positively charged plate is at the lower end, and the negatively charged plate is at the upper side, so that the electric field exists from the positive to the negative charge, so that the electric field is directed along the y direction. So that is you can represent it by the unit vector j. Direction of the electric field can be represented by the unit vector j because it is in the along the y direction. Then you know that the field that exists between two parallel plate capacitor is related by applying Gauss law. You might have obtained these results. You further once again you go through that and you see the result. So the electric field that exists between the two plates is given by the surface charge density measured that is in the S0 frame we measure the surface charge density as sigma 0. It is taken as sigma 0 and sigma 0 by epsilon 0. That is the electric field measured in the S0 frame. Also, see here sigma 0 is taken as the charge density, and you also take that there is a charge plus q on the positive plate and a charge minus q on the negative plate. Let L be the length and W be the width of the plate. So we have got the relation number 1. Now we consider another frame S, which is moving with a velocity v0 with respect to s0. So its velocity is v0, relative velocity is v0 with respect to s0. So while you are looking from the S frame, you will see that the capacitor plates which are stationary in the S0 frame appear to be moving along the left side, left-wise. It is moving to the left side. So what will happen? This capacitor plates moves along the left side. So it will cause for a shortening of the length of the capacitor plates. Length gets contracted, Lorentz contracted, because length is along, because we have put the plates in the XZ plane. So that is then only the electric field will appear in the Y direction. The plates should be put in the XZ plane. So the capacitor plates are moving along the minus x direction, so that there should be length contraction, because when there is movement arises in that direction, length gets contracted. But the width doesn't change, because the width is in a direction perpendicular to the direction of motion. So in the perpendicular direction there may not be any change in the length, so that there may not be any change in the width to take place. So because of this length contraction is by a factor gamma. You can find out the area. Area is also, it is equal to length contracted, so that the charge density, the new charge density, the surface charge density also changes, because the Q is assumed to be the same. Q still remains as the total charge in the S frame. The total charge measured from the S frame is the same. It is Q. So Q by new A dash is modified by a factor gamma, so that what you will get, the sigma is also modified. So the sigma is also increasing by a factor gamma, the Lorentz factor. Here gamma 0 is the Lorentz factor, because we are using that symbol gamma 0 to represent that the gamma 0 is given by square root of 1 minus v0 square by c square, where v0 is the relative velocity between s0 and s prime. So gamma 0 is used. So sigma is also modified by a factor gamma with respect to sigma 0. Gamma times it is modified to gamma 0 sigma 0. So that from these results you can show that substituting sigma 0 by epsilon 0 can be taken as E0, and so that the new field, electric field appearing from the S frame is E is given by gamma 0 E0. So because the electric field is directed in a perpendicular direction to the motion of relative motion, we represent that this field as E perpendicular, and so that here we see that the E perpendicular is modified or increased by a factor gamma 0, which is the Lorentz factor that exists between the two frames. So here we are going to the next case, how the parallel component of electric field gets transformed. So we have seen that the perpendicular component of electric field is modified by a factor gamma, or it is increased by a factor gamma 0, the Lorentz contraction factor. So what will happen to the parallel component of electric field? So in order to find the effect on the parallel component, we place the capacitor plates parallel to the YZ plane. So what will happen? So now the electric field will, when the capacitor plate is put in the YZ plane, the electric field will exist along the X direction. Electric field will be existing along the X direction. So that is, the electric field is parallel to the direction of motion of the frames. So what will happen if the capacitor plates appear to be moving from the S frame? So this capacitor plate gets Lorentz contracted in the direction of motion. So the D is contracted. But there may not be any change in the length and width because they are in a direction perpendicular to the direction of motion. So the change in D does not in any way affect the sigma or calculation of sigma or the calculation of electric field, so that the electric field doesn't get modified. So we can say that the electric field measured from the S frame is the same as the electric field measured in the S dash frame when the capacitor plates are put in the Y, are put parallel to the YZ plane. So E parallel can be written as it's equal to E0 parallel. E parallel is the parallel component of electric field measured from the S frame, and E0 parallel is the parallel component measured from the S dash frame. So the parallel component of electric field is unchanged. So what we have got is the transformation rule for the electric field, and there is no magnetic field or any transformation rule corresponding to magnetic field is arising in this case. So we have, what we require is some general transformation rule. These are not general transformation rule, these are some special cases. So we have to go for the general transformation rule. For that we consider another frame also along with the two frames. So this frame is S dash frame, and this S dash frame is moving with velocity V dash with respect to S0 frame and V with respect to S frame. So what will be the case? When you are looking from the S frame, because of the relative motion, because of the motion of the capacitor plates, current arises, and as a result a magnetic field is produced. And while you are looking from the S dash frame, you will have a different velocity, so that a different current arises and a different magnetic field. So two different magnetic field arises apart from electric field also. So it is possible to try for some transformation relation between the electric and magnetic field from the S and S dash frame. That is measured on the plates which are kept fixed in the S0 frame. So here we are taking the electric field EY electric field. So we take that capacitor plates are put along the XZ plane, parallel to the XZ plane, so that the electric field exists in the EY direction. So it is the perpendicular component EY direction, and we know that is equal to sigma by epsilon 0, where sigma is the charge density measured from the S frame for the capacitor plates. Also we have to measure the magnetic field produced by the surface currents, because while you are looking from the S frame, these capacitor plates are moving to the left. So this movement causes for a current, and that current creates a magnetic field, and this magnetic field produced by the lower positive plate and the upper negative plates are adding together, and this as as a whole, in total, it creates a total field along the z direction, negative z direction, that exists between the two plates, and that can be shown to be equal to B z is equal to minus mu 0 sigma V0. So also you can show that the surface current densities can be shown to be equal to K plus, that is surface current density due to the positive plate is equal to minus sigma V0 I, and the surface charge density created by negative charge is K minus equal to sigma V0 I. These two surface currents create a net Bz minus mu 0 sigma V0. So next we are going to show how that K plus is equal to sigma V0 I and K minus is equal to sigma V0 I arises. So when we are looking from the S frame, we see that the capacitor plates are moving to the left. So as a result, the positive charges on these capacitor plates are moving to the left. So there is a current arises in the negative x direction. So that is why that quantity minus sign arises. K plus is minus, whereas the negative charges are, while it is moving to the leftwards, the current will be in the opposite direction, so it is in the positive direction. So that is plus I arises for K minus. So the K plus will be along the minus direction and K minus will be along the plus direction. So how this sigma V0 and that quantity arises? So we have understood how that sign arises. Then we have to consider about the magnitude of K plus. So when this positive, consider the case of positive plate, when it is moving and let L be the length of the plate, and this capacitor, this plate moves a distance L during a time t, a time interval t, so that during the time the total charge crossing through a width will be given by sigma into LW. LW is the area. That is the L is the distance moved. So that into W will be the total area moved, the charge area moved, and that much charge will be moved, and that into sigma will give the total charge that crosses through a width W. So the current, so it is a charge, and there is a charge flown through a time t, by a time during a time t. So the current will be given by dividing that quantity by t. So we will get current. So L by t is nothing but it is V0, the velocity with which the capacitor plate moves. So you can put L by t as V0, so that the current is equal to sigma V0 W. Then current density is current per unit length. So that is this current crosses through a width W, so that you divide the current divided by W, so that you will get the current density, surface current density. K plus is equal to so dividing by W you get minus sigma V0 I. That sign is also put there to indicate the direction of the current density. So similarly, while you are looking for the negative plate, you can show, by the same argument you can show that the K minus equal to sigma V0 I. So next we have to show that the total magnetic field B is equal to minus mu 0 sigma V0. So the positively charged plate creates a field minus mu 0 sigma V0 by 2, and the negative plate also creates the same amount of magnetic field. These two magnetic fields are directed along the minus z direction. They add together and they gives a total field B is equal to minus mu 0 sigma B 0. So how it is possible to ascertain this result? You take that this is the current, the K plus, you consider the case of K plus, positive charge. So that is the lower plate. So that is shown by arrows. There is a direction of current is shown. So current is moving to the left. The current is directed to the left. So that the magnetic field, you can find out the magnetic field applying by the clasp rule, right hand clasp rule. You put your finger in the direction of the current, so that your fingers will be directed. The fingers will be directed in the direction of the magnetic field. So it will curl in the direction of the magnetic field. It will be curling in the direction of the magnetic field. So the direction of magnetic field is shown like that. So this magnetic field lines is for the lower plate, it goes through the upper surface and comes back through the lower surface. Whereas for the negative plate, it is the current is along the positive direction, so that the magnetic field, so the field lines are going into the capacitor plates at the lower side, and the magnetic lines are coming towards the observer, towards us, through the upper side of the upper plate. So what will happen? So you can calculate the field. You are applying the equation integral B dot dl is equal to mu 0 I. So you are applying Ampere's circuital law to calculate the expression for the field. So the field Bz is constant. You can take that Bz for the, you consider for the lower plate. So let the field that exists at the total, you have to consider along the circular path that's shown. So along the upper part of the K plus, upper part of the loop, there the field is, you take it as Bz1, and the width, and the dl is equal to the width of the plate W. So you have to put a minus sign there. Bz1 is the magnitude of the field and W, you have to put a sign minus W there, and then add plus Bz1. But here the Bz is directed towards us at the lower end, so that quantity is, you have to put a minus sign there. So minus Bz1, and W is, because it is directed towards us, you take the W as a plus quantity, so that you have got that value. So then mu 0 times I means I is equal to sigma V0. I is equal to sigma V0. I is equal to sigma V0. So that you will have a minus sign should also arise there. So you will have a Bz1 is equal to minus mu 0 sigma V0 by 2. So it is the quantity produced by the K plus charge density. Similarly, you can show that the charge density, the field produced by the upper plate at the lower part will be equal to Bz minus mu 0 sigma V0 by 2. So that the total field is equal to minus mu 0 sigma V0. So next we are going to the derivation of the equations. So we have seen how these equations are obtained. So in the S frame we have got U is equal to sigma by epsilon 0 and Vz is equal to mu 0 sigma V. Then in the In the third system, these equations are further modified. Ey dash is equal to sigma dash divided by epsilon 0. Ey dash is the electric field measured in the S dash frame. So that is equal to the charge density measured in the S dash frame, that is sigma dash. And Bz dash is equal to minus mu 0 sigma dash V dash. Then also you can have a relation connecting V0 and V dash by applying the Einstein's velocity addition rule. You can obtain this result. You can try to obtain this result. How it is possible to obtain that result? Then in all these three cases, the Lorentz transformation factors, Lorentz contraction factors are shown as in the slide. Gamma 0 is the Lorentz contraction factor between the S0 and S frame, because between the two frames V0 is the relative velocity, and between the S dash and S0 frame V dash is the velocity, so that the corresponding gamma dash is given by that relation, and between the S and S dash frame V is the relative velocity, so that the corresponding gamma is given by gamma is equal to 1 by square root of minus V square by C square. So we already have the relation sigma is equal to gamma 0 sigma 0, gamma 0 into sigma 0. So sigma dash, the corresponding sigma dash is equal to gamma dash into sigma 0. Sigma dash you measure from the S dash frame, gamma dash is the corresponding Lorentz contraction factor. Sigma is while you are measuring the S frame, gamma 0 is the corresponding Lorentz contraction factor, so that you can have sigma 0 can be substituted as sigma by gamma 0. So you can write the sigma dash is equal to gamma dash by gamma 0 into sigma. You have got that result. Then using this expression for sigma dash, we take the relation 8 and you can show that Ey dash is equal to, instead of sigma dash you substitute gamma dash by sigma, gamma 0 into sigma, and also put Ey is equal to sigma by epsilon 0, so that the Ey dash is equal to gamma dash by gamma 0 into Ey, and Bz dash can be shown to be minus gamma dash by gamma 0 mu 0 sigma V dash. In that way you can write. So then gamma dash by gamma can be simplified. There is some mathematics to show that this quantity gamma dash by gamma is equal to gamma into 1 plus V0 by C square. That is equation number 15. Then you are substituting the expression for gamma dash by gamma, which is the equation number 15, in expression for Ey dash. There is equation number 13, and you can obtain the relation Ey dash is equal to gamma into Ey minus Vbz. Similarly, if you are applying equation number 15, that is gamma dash by expression for gamma dash by gamma, and applying it to the expression for Bz dash, that is equation number 14, you can show that Bz dash is equal to gamma into Bz minus V by C square Ez. To get the transformation equation for Ez and By, so we have got the transformation rule for Ez, Ey and Bz. So in order to get the transformation rule for Ez and By, or Ez dash and By dash, you assume that the capacitor plates are placed parallel to the xy plane, so that the electric field will be along the Ez plane and the magnetic field will be along the y direction, along the y direction in between the plates. So that following the above procedure, you can ultimately reduce to the relation Ez dash is equal to gamma into Ez plus Vby, and By dash is equal to gamma into By plus B by C square Ez. Next, we have to get the transformation rule for Ex. So here we have to do nothing, but you assume that the capacitor plates are put parallel to the YZ plane, so that the electric field will be directed along the x-axis. So it is nothing but the parallel component. Ex is parallel component, which does not change with us due to relative motion, so that you can show that the Ex dash is equal to Ex. Then still one more quantity is left behind, that is the transformation rule for Bx. So in order to get the relation, you assume that a stationary solenoid is put in the S frame. In the S frame, there is a stationary solenoid, and let capital N be the length of the solenoid, and total number of turns in the solenoid, and small will be the total length of the solenoid, so that N by L gives the number of turns per unit length, and you use the usual symbol small n to represent that. Let a current I is flowing through the wire in the S frame. It is measured in the S frame, so that you usually you apply the rule, the relation that already knows to you, that is B is equal to mu 0 Ni. So that is the total B that exists between the solenoid as measured in the S frame. So while you are looking from the S dash frame, which is moving with respect to S frame with a velocity V, this what will happen? This L is modified by a fact. The length of the solenoid gets contracted by a factor gamma, so that the new length is L is contracted L by gamma. So what will happen for the number of turns per unit length? So because the length gets contracted, number of turns per unit length, N will remain the same. Number of turns is not going to change with respect to due to relative motion. So but the length changes, that causes for an increase in the value of N. There is the new quantity is N dash, small n dash. The number of turns per unit length increases by a factor gamma. But while you are looking from the S dash frame, the time changes. The time interval measured will change. So the time interval gets increased. Time interval increases due to relative motion. So that what will happen? The current changes, because current is depending on the time. It is a charge per unit time. So the time interval gets elongated. As a result, the current is modified, or it decreases by a factor gamma. The current decreases because greater time is there, because the time interval increases, greater time is there for the charge to flow, so that net current decreases. So I by gamma is the new current, I dash is equal to I by gamma. So the total field Bx dash is equal to mu 0 n dash I. So that will be equal to mu 0 gamma n I by gamma. So you can show that this is equal to mu 0 Ni. So here we take that in the relative motion does not affect the laws. So you are taking the same laws, B is equal to mu 0 Ni. So here it is modified as mu 0 n dash I dash, a corresponding number of turns per unit length, and the corresponding current measured on the S dash frame, so that you can show that this in effect there is no net change. So that is Bx dash is equal to Bx. So there is no change. So you can write down all the complete. We have obtained 6 equations, and all the 6 equations are written there. Then we have some certain special cases, that is when B is equal to 0 in the S frame, and but electric field is not equal to 0, so there only exists electric field in the S frame. So in that case, the corresponding magnetic field measured in the S dash frame is related with the corresponding E dash through the relation B dash is equal to minus 1 by C square into V cross E, where V is the relative velocity. And also, if the electric field is equal to 0 in this frame and magnetic field only exists in this frame, an electric field exists in the S dash frame, and that electric field is given by E dash is equal to V cross B dash. So thus we come to the end of the presentation. You are all these derivations or the details of the derivations are given to you through the notes. You have to go through the notes and also work out this problem, that is the special cases that we have discussed at the last, and that is also worked out in your notes. So you go through that and you learn that, and here we come to the end of this class. Thank you very much.